talk about the top 5 reasons why black people should not vote for Biden. We're going to get into that a little bit later. We're going to take care of a couple of news items before we get into that. Because see, right now, a lot of the Democrats are trying to shame black people now. The Democrats are really trying to shame black people heavy. They don't really have any other tactic. They don't have any other tangibles that they're going to try to give us. So their tactic now is basically to shame black people into voting for Biden and Kamani. And if you don't vote for Biden or Kamala, they're going to label you a Trump supporter, and that's going to be like an epithet. Oh, that must mean you support Trump. That's their only tactic that they have, a weak-ass shaming tactic. So let's start breaking down the top 5 reasons why black Americans should not vote for Biden. Now, number 1, we know the crime bill. That crime bill is a beast, and that crime bill was devastating, and they know that they can't really back up off that crime bill. They can't justify it, so they like to just ignore it and not talk about it. And that's their Achilles heel, and they know that. Now, the thing is, when people try to shame us into voting or not voting for Trump or not voting for Biden and Kamala, they say, well, Trump is going to get in, and Trump, his policies are going to harm us disproportionately in the future. Because let's be real, and I've said this online, Kamala and Biden, they both have a track record of putting together policies that actually harm black people. Their policies specifically harm black people for years. You can point to their policies, and you can point to all the black people that were by their policies. If we're going to be honest, and I'm not a fan of any candidate right now, but if we're talking about the lesser of evils, Trump hasn't put together a policy that specifically hurt black people. If we're going to look at the lesser of evils, Trump has not put together a policy that has actually specifically harmed black people. Now, other people have gotten a little bit of the smack around from some immigrant groups and stuff like that, people who are susceptible to the ICE raids and all that, but that's not our problem. I'm talking about for us. See, they want us to do all the suffering while everybody else does all the floating. No, let some of that suffering spread around a little bit. Until everybody removes the system of white supremacy and replace it with a system of justice. Because see, let's be very clear. And I want some of these other people to understand how white supremacy works. See, the Democrats want to just keep on hitting us with different crime bills. See, they tearing our asses up with the crime bill. See, a lot of the Democrats are bringing in these immigrants who don't mind kicking our asses around. You see? But see, with the white supremacists on the right side, they've had years, centuries of smacking around black people and harming black people. That's old news. See, you got to understand, sometimes the white supremacists want a little new meat. Yeah, we can smack the niggas around anytime. We already do that. That's nothing. But to smack around a couple of these other groups, that we kind of like that. We can build a wall and throw a couple of people in ICE detentions, and we can smack around a couple of Arabs, and we can smack around a couple of these other groups. See, now they got some new meat. They kind of like that. They kind of like smacking around some of these other groups for a change. Spread the pain. If we're not going to alleviate it, spread it. See, everybody wants us to sacrifice ourselves so we can be the ones being smacked around while everybody else sits around and mocks us while we get smacked around. You dig? And we're not going for that. That's just not going to work. And that brings us to the second thing, why we should not support Biden or Kamala. Number 2, because of Kamala's record. Kamala has a long track of locking black men and women up. That truancy thing she had, locking up black families, making black people put out fires out here, having black prisoners work for the city and the state. Kamala Harris has a terrible record with black folks, and they're running around having her do the whole sister girl act. They're telling us, ignore her record of harming black people, being the top cop. They hate when we refer to her as a cop, like Roland. Y'all calling Kamala a cop. She's not a cop. She herself says she's a cop. She herself says she's a cop. She says she's a cop. And the thing is, she's going to support more cops. Just like the other Democrats, when Obama was in office, Obama saw that black people were being slaughtered out here in the streets. Obama saw that the state-sanctioned executions were in epidemic proportions. Obama didn't do one thing to punish race soldiers or any white people for harming black people. Obama, nor his administration, did anything to punish these people. But he did sign the blue law to give race soldiers more protection. Obama and the Democrats should never be forgiven for that. There's nothing they can say to shame us into supporting them after they neglected us the way they did. Family, we should never let these people try to come to us telling us what the hell we should do and why we should vote for them, the Democrats, And all they did was shit on us and ignore us and benign neglect us. And we're talking about defund the police out in the streets, and Kamala and Biden are talking about giving the police more funding. Why should we support them? They keep giving us reasons to not support them. Now, some Democratic Sambos will try to say, well, representation matters. Well, if y'all let Trump get in office, Trump has not appointed any black judges. Have y'all heard that? I've heard that nonsense. How Trump hasn't appointed black judges. Let me tell you something. The Democrats, y'all judges ain't shit. The Democratic appointed judges, how are they working for black people? Like Tammy the Mammy down there in Dallas. How's that working for black people? Tammy the hugging mammy. You got a Democrat judge out here hugging race soldiers for murdering people. Miss me with that representation matters. I don't need a mammy. If I'm gonna get a mammy, give me Massa. We're better off with Massa instead of his mammy. Come on. We got prosecutors like Jackie Lacey out here in LA who ain't worth 2 dead flies. This woman hasn't punished any race soldiers out here. All they're doing is putting prosecutors and DAs and judges who are mammies and sambos, who ain't doing nothing. We ain't playing the game of just posting a black face up and we're supposed to be happy with that. We're not playing that game. We need people who's going to punish these race soldiers. Because, see, people get on code with their folks. Like that Kyle Rittenhouse guy, the state of Illinois, they've already said they're not going to prosecute this guy. See, they're already on code. Kyle Rittenhouse was that little suspected white supremacist teen who went to Wisconsin with a gun and started shooting people. And the right white supremacists are co-signing him, making him a hero, trying to help get him out of jail. So Illinois has already said they're not going to prosecute him. So they're already getting on code with their folks. This guy killed folks. See, we got dangerous white supremacists out here. We're not going to talk about them. We don't need to waste time with Democratic shills who ain't going to do nothing but slow up the process and basically make us bigger targets. Because they are neglecting us. See, they want us to participate in our own neglect. That is not happening anymore. We are never doing that. We've done it enough. We will never, ever participate in our own neglect. You will not neglect us. We're not going to be politically naive. We're not going to let you use these trick words on us. We're just not going to do that. We're not going to do that, ladies and gentlemen. That is not working. We are not playing that game. And that brings us to the third reason why we should not vote for Biden. Biden has already talked about prioritizing immigration policies. Now, we see black folks out here getting murdered by race soldiers in Democratic-run cities. A lot of these cities are Democratic-run where black people are getting killed by the state-sanctioned race soldiers. They're not doing anything about it. We need a Marshall Plan right now. So instead of giving us a Marshall Plan, instead of giving their most loyal base protection under the Constitution, they're talking about they're going to prioritize non-citizens. That is disrespectful. That is very disrespectful. It's disrespectful because you're prioritizing non-citizens over us. And number two, you're prioritizing non-citizens who come from cultures who have the same anti-black contempt. And they want us to believe that there is some type of camaraderie with these immigrant groups, and there is none. We're not going for that con game again. A lot of the Democratic shills are talking about, well, we got to support Biden because if Trump get in office, Trump is going to put in some travel bans. Trump is going to halt immigration. That's a you problem. That is not a problem for us. That does not harm foundational black Americans. We're going to keep it a buck. That's a you problem. That's a hold your own nuts problem. Our job is to not sacrifice our well-being for people who are ungrateful as fuck anyway. We got a lot of ungrateful people, as we see a lot of these wannabe white Hispanics. They come over here, ungrateful as hell, off our backs. After we help them, they turn around and tell us, well, this ain't y'all land, this our land. This used to be Mexico. No. Because the people that were here ain't you. The people that were on this land are not you. And I've had this conversation for the last couple of weeks against some of these anti-black white Hispanics who try to throw salt on foundational black Americans. California is our land. No, it ain't your land. It is not your land, and it never was. You ain't got nothing to do with the indigenous people that were here, Jose. And truth be told, you really don't have anything to do with the indigenous people that were in Mexico, Jose. Let's keep it a buck. See, they like to play that three-card Monte. You have the Jen Garcias and all these people. This is why, see, they identify as white. There's a reason why they identify as white and then tell us, y'all look at blackness as a scab, a scab. See, they tell us all this stuff. They try to play this three-card Monte where they're white one day, then a person of color the next day, and then indigenous the next day. Nonsense. Nonsense. They have nothing to do with the indigenous people, and they know it. Indigenous people who lived in this part of the world did not look anything like Gloria Estefan. Let's be clear. The indigenous people who lived on this land looked nothing like Rico Suave. They did not. Truth be told, some of the indigenous people, and our brother Jan Carew, great scholar, great Caribbean scholar, he talked about this. In Mexico, the indigenous people, and I'm talking about the indigenous people who speaks the indigenous language. I ain't talking about Latinos. I'm not talking about people who speak Spanish. I'm talking about the indigenous people who still live in certain pockets of Mexico who speak the original indigenous language. They are discriminated against by Mexicans. Do you know that? Some of those dark-skinned indigenous people who speak indigenous languages out there in Mexico who live in these little enclaves, in these little pockets, they are discriminated against by the Mexican population. So let's be very clear. They know they're not the same people. They know that the Mexican folks don't have any real camaraderie with those folks down there. You understand? And we can get real deep about who was really over here if we want to get real heavy. There's a reason why certain Native American tribes, when they start dissecting some of the languages and some of the chants they would use, like the Hopi Indian and the Pima Indians, when they recorded them in the early 20th century, around 1908, some of the first recordings, and they took it to the Smithsonian, these people were doing these chants in the western states and the western parts of America, and they thought it was just gibberish, and then they started to decipher what they were saying, and some of these chants were in Arabic. Some of these Native American chants were in Arabic. Y'all better look up some of this stuff that I'm saying. See, this is why we got to get folks straight when it comes to our importance to this land. This is why us talking about being foundational Black Americans is very important. And us understanding and us talking about our history. Let's get deep. Why were some of these people speaking Arabic? That's because of the Moors. And if you go to the official FBA site, we break down what makes up a foundational Black American. 3 things. The indigenous black-skinned people who were here. According to all of the explorers, when they got here, they saw black-skinned people. When Columbus's son Ferdinand went down there to Nicaragua, to that area, he saw black-skinned people called Amerique. That's where the name America comes from. And all over when they came here, they saw black-skinned people. Number 2, the black people who were brought over captive. We know about the slave trade. We're only taught about the slave trade. We know that, but what's not talked about are the black explorers that came here. Ladies and gentlemen, we really have to understand that black explorers were coming back and forth doing trade here. We have to understand that. Now, we know about books by our brother Ivan Van Sertima. We know books, they came before Columbus, but this stuff is well documented. Family, there were Moors over here, black people who were Islamized. This is why California was named California. That's Calipia. That's an Islamic name. And in the year 1500, there were Spanish writers saying that they heard about an island that's west of the Caribbean, or the Indies as they call it, called California, with a bunch of Moorish women. You understand? We have to understand our importance to this land. We've been on this land. We've been traveling back and forth to this land for centuries. And the white supremacists, they know this. Hell, Columbus knew that. Let me tell y'all something about this Columbus thing. It was Columbus Day the other day. And Columbus never said he discovered anything. That was something that was put on Columbus. Columbus never said he discovered anything because he knew he didn't. See, understand European history, Spanish history. When the Moors were fighting the Christians, meaning the whites up there in Spain, the white Christians pushed many of the Moors out. The last stronghold was Granada. That was right there on the coast of Spain. That was a very important part of Spain. Let's get into some history, guys. This is why you need to understand history. And I've been to Granada before. I've been to the Alhambra, one of the most beautiful buildings on the planet. This was built centuries ago. Still beautiful, even by today's standards. These folks built this thing centuries ago. If you ever get a chance to go to Spain, go to Granada, go to the Alhambra. Beautiful Moorish building. But the thing is, when they finally got down to Grenada, they were fighting the Moors down there. And let's be clear, the Moors were still strong to a certain degree. They were fighting it just won 10 years before the fall of Granada, which was in 1492. 10 years earlier, they had won a major battle against the Spanish. So the Moors could have held that area. What happened, they had this nigga, Bo Abdil. He was the last Moorish king of Grenada. This bitch-ass nigga was getting pussy whooped by those Spanish women. Just like now, niggas get some Spanish pussy, don't know how to act. And Bo Abdil basically didn't even put up a fight. They gave him some money, and this nigga gave him the keys to the Alhambra, and he fucked it up for everybody. Bo Abdil doing some light-skinned shit. This light-skinned coon Moor who was pussy whooped by Spanish pussy. His mama, there's pictures of Bo Abdil and his mama. His mama's jet black African. There's so many stories about how she cussed his ass out. She cursed him out all the way back to Morocco. It's like, nigga, you fucked it up for everybody. I spit on you. Bo Abdil's mama cussed his ass out all the way back to Africa. Don't you cry like a bitch. You done messed it up, everybody. And sure enough, he did. His mama knew how he messed it up, everybody, because you have to understand, he had the keys and he had a stronghold on something, the last Moorish stronghold, and they had a lot of secrets and a lot of documents and a lot of information in Moorish hands, because see, the Moors were the plug. See, they had all those maps, they had all those navigation tools, they had all this information, they had a lot of wealth. This is why Spain, after they conquered Grenada, they got all the wealth. This is how they had the money in 1492 to explore the world. You understand? But in 1492, there's a reason why the Moors fell, and the same year, immediately, Spain went out and explored the world and started conquering. Why did they conquer so fast? See, what happened, Columbus immediately got access to a lot of those Moorish maps. See, those Moorish maps and all of those Moorish documents, that wasn't ready for public consumption. See, the Moors were the plug. If you want all of these goodies, you have to go through us. And they would make everybody pay them. They were the middlemen. They would do the exploring. They would go do the exploring. They would go to these different far-off lands, and they wouldn't tell the average Christian Spanish person where all this stuff was, because the Moors were the plug, just like drug dealers. I'm not going to tell you my connect down in Colombia. Nigga, you go through me. I bring you the bricks. I got the bricks, nigga. I'm the plug, nigga. Just, throw me some. I'm gonna come back. I got some lemons and oranges. Remember, the Moors brought in lemons and oranges and all these tropical fruits. A lot of shit they were getting from the Caribbean, by the way. So they were the plug. So they had all of this secret information that they were not giving out. So when the Spanish conquered them, they got all that information. They started getting those maps. And understand, they understood and they learned from the documents that Moors had been coming over here for centuries. Very well documented. People like Al-Masudi, back in, I would say, the 8th or 9th century, it was a Moor named Al-Masudi who came over here. Very well documented. He even has a map. Spell his name, A-L, next word, M-A-S-U-D-I. Look up Al-Masudi. He has a map that showed the unknown world, which was over here. So they're maps, guys. These are things that just white scholars don't talk about. We're going to give you some game here so y'all can look this stuff up so you can know who you are. There were other people. We know about Ibn Farouk. That was another Moor who came over here. Ibn Farouk came over here centuries ago. We know about Idrisi. Idrisi had maps over here. And as a matter of fact, Idrisi and those guys, they talked about coming over here. They were in the Caribbean. They had gotten taken captive. Some of the Moors were taken captive by some of the natives. One of the natives actually spoke Arabic. The native was a translator, and the native negotiated to let them go. And they wrote about this. This was a popular story in Moorish Spain. So again, they had Moorish translators over here. This is why you keep seeing Arabic pop up. Also, when Columbus came over, when Columbus went to Cuba, what did Columbus say he saw in Cuba? Columbus said he saw a mosque in Cuba. Y'all look that up. There's a reason why. So Moors coming over here is very well documented. You can look up all these names. There's a book, Meadows of Gold, that Al-Masudi wrote. They talked about the gold over here and all that stuff. This was a book written in the 900-something, in the 10th century. Go get that book, or look it up, Meadows of Gold. He wrote this book. It took him years to write this book. They put out the first translation, English translation, I think in the 1800s. It's an old book. You understand? But the thing is with Columbus, a little goofy ass, when he started getting those maps, he got one map by one Moor, Farghani. That's another name y'all look up, Farghani, who was a Moor who had a map of the earth, and he knew the circumference of the earth. He knew all this stuff. The Moors knew all of this stuff. And Columbus got Farghani's map, and that was one of the maps he used to come over here. But the thing is, Farghani, they translated the map from Arabic to Latin, and the measurements are different in Latin and in Arabic. For example, guys, a Roman mile is different from an Arabic mile. An Arabic foot is different from a Roman foot or a Latin foot. So the measurements are different. So when they say something is like 10 feet, in Arabic numbers, that's different from Roman numbers. So Columbus, not knowing the difference, he saw some of the calculations on the map, and he thought, okay, well, shit, if I go 3,000 miles, I'll be in Japan. So that's why his ass, when he got over there, he thought he was in India. And he started calling everybody Indians because he was misreading those Moorish maps. So he was lost. He didn't really know. And he didn't discover anything. He knows that, and most scholars know that. They understand what I'm telling you. Most white scholars, they know this. This is very well documented. They just don't tell you. You think? They simply don't tell you. But this is so that you can understand that you, Foundation of Black American, are not comparative to immigrant groups. We've been here. This is our goddamn land. We just did not get brought over as slaves. This was our land. The so-called slaves were mixed in with the indigenous black population. We've been here for a minute. See, what they like to do, they like to Wakandicize us and tell us about great lands elsewhere that we should go back to. Because when they tell you about great lands in Wakanda and all these other places, these countries they can't tell you, just go back to Africa. And no shade on Africa, but the countries that we came from, some of our people came from in Africa, don't even exist anymore. When they tell you that, that makes you not want to fight for your homeland right where you are. See, that makes you not want to fight for your land. See, when you understand that this is your shit, you'll fight for your shit. When they keep telling you you're a guest somewhere, well, this country don't like you. This country, you don't belong. No. This is our country. The world is dominated by white supremacy. The world is dominated by white supremacy. Everywhere is dominated by white supremacy. The problem is we're surviving white supremacy and we're fighting it, see? Foundational Black Americans, we have to look at it like that. We survived the slave trade. A lot of people did not survive it. Let me tell you something. When groups start classifying themselves and when non-white groups start trying to classify themselves as white, they've been defeated. When you are a non-white group and you're running around here trying to classify yourself as white, your ass has been defeated. White supremacy has defeated you. So we don't play that game. We don't play that. But let's go back to my list. We're still on the list. Let's go to number 4, guys. The fourth reason why we should not vote for Biden is the continued benign neglect policies. They continue to act like we don't exist. They continue to lump us in with other groups. They continue to prioritize other groups over us. They continue to use vague, open-ended terms like minority, people of color. They keep doing the benign neglect. The Democrats see what we're going through. They're going to continue the benign neglect, knowing that we need specific targeted help. And the thing is, at least Trump will say we should do something for Black Americans, which he's capping, but at least he's saying it to a certain degree. And that's the thing I like to rub into the Democrats' face. At least this dude is saying it. Y'all not even saying it. Hell, y'all know what Kamala Harris said. I'm not going to do nothing just for Black people. No. Now, you would never say that about any other group. You would into supporting you. You know better than that. See, the thing is, you got these folks out here. They prioritize these other groups. And these other groups shit on us. But when you start looking, especially some of these immigrant groups, going back to some of those immigrant groups, like that chick Lovey. Y'all know that chick Lovey, that Nigerian white-ass kissing mammy who comes over here and just talks all types of crap and grease about Black Americans, calling us all types of ikatas. Cynthia Erivo's homegirl. You know, that Lovey chick wrote a book talking about Do Better, the Do Better guide, which she's directing at Foundational Black Americans. Somebody asked her about what's going on in Nigeria right now. You know, in Nigeria, it's all hell is broken loose with the SARS, with some kind of police force over there. They're slaughtering people in the streets over there. The police are going nuts in the streets out there in Nigeria. It's crazy. The police are abusing people out there. And somebody asked her about that, like, damn, Lovey, you ain't saying nothing about what's going on in your home country? And she acting dumb. I don't really know. I don't know what's going on over there. I gotta see. I don't be paying attention like that. No, y'all walk around with your damn Nigerian flag and y'all kind of niggas are not as good as hardworking as us. All that old shit. But when y'all see all this crime and all of these genocides popping in your country, all of a sudden you legally blind. Now you legally blind. You ain't telling them to damn do better. Where's your do better book for them? When all types of hell is going down in your own home country, you don't know nothing now. You see? See, we got to watch these folks who come over here with the disrespect. And we got a lot of trolls in the room because we got a lot of Democratic shills in the room because of the topic of the show tonight, the top 5 reasons why Black people should not vote for Biden. We got a lot of trolls in here. A lot of trolls in the room. They're very mad. They're very upset. It's okay. We need you to put the cape on and be Superman. We need you to get in your car and be Batman. We need you to put on some flippers, get in the water and be Aquaman. It's okay. Now let's go to the 5th and most important thing. One of the reasons why we should not vote for Biden as Black people, because Biden also said instead of helping Black people, he's going to prioritize LGBT issues. And let's be real, that means white LGBT. They don't do anything for the Black LGBT community. And a lot of Black LGBT people, they are into this abuse thing, this sadomasochistic type of vibe and energy with these white supremacists. So they don't mind not getting anything. They don't mind the damn abuse in many cases. They sit up and let these white supremacists abuse them. And what these people do, they put together policies for the white LGBT community to get civil rights protections so that the next Ed Buck won't go to jail, so the next Jeffrey Dahmer won't get caught or get civil rights protections when they got dead Black folks all up in their apartments. You dig? So they're prioritizing that over Black people who are being slaughtered out here. That's another slap in the face. And you know, a lot of folks, they try to put that, well, Black folks, y'all need to support this LGBT bill because you know how homophobic y'all are. You know the Black community is so homophobic. And I can't wait till the movie Buck Breaking comes out because we talk about those lies and where those lies come from. Those are shaming tactics to get us to support all of their bills and all of the stuff that they try to do to us. They try to get us Black folks to support pedophiles and all types of shit. But they're always trying to shame us into supporting things that prioritize sexuality over racial injustice. You know, I saw a video clip of Willow Smith, Jada and Willow, and an article came out talking about this clip where they're talking about the black community don't accept them or some shit like that, how the black community look at them as weird. Listen to this clip. Now, I had a problem with this. This is Jada Pinkett Smith, Willow Smith, and their mom. Now, listen to this.
These people are talking about your children that they don't even know. Making you guys out to be these brats, Hollywood brats. You were never that, ever.
The thing that I had to consider was that they weren't raised typically.
Right.
And I think especially for our community, it was something new.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Specifically with the African American community, I kind of felt like me and Jaden were like shunned a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, no, like we're not gonna take pride in them because they're too different. They're too weird.
Wow.
Even some of our family members, I would feel they thought you're too different.
We do have a way within the community that we expect our kids to be raised, like how you behave, you know, how you carry yourself.
But there are different ways that can be successful.
It was difficult for me to even let go and give you guys.
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Now, wait, what? Now, Willow's talking about, the African-American community, they don't embrace us. We're just too different. When the hell does Jaden and Willow hang around black people, first of all? No, hold on. When does Willow and Jaden hang around black people like that? When are they around black people like that? I'm talking about just kicking it with black friends. When do they kick it with black people? We didn't accept y'all. What is she talking about? What are they talking about? That really rubbed me the wrong way. That's almost low-key baby coon talk. Jaden be all up here booed up with white girls, and Willow, they remember when there was some pictures of her in a bed with some white man, and she was like 13? Yeah, that shit is weird. Y'all remember that? They were talking about doing an investigation of them too. It wasn't black folks, it was the prosecutors were talking about, law enforcement was talking about doing some kind of investigating because this girl was laying in a bed with a white man. Yeah, black folks, we think that's weird, yeah. Yeah, that is kind of weird. Yeah, a lot of stuff is weird. Y'all remember a couple of years ago when Kanye and Kim got married and Jaden showed up to the wedding in a Batman outfit? Jaden Smith was at Kim and Kanye's wedding in a goddamn white Batman outfit. It wasn't even a regular black man, a Batman. It was a white Batman outfit. Yeah, that's kind of weird. He's the only one sitting up in a wedding with a Batman outfit on. Google that. Yeah. I don't like when people do go out of their way to do weird shit and be on some look at me, and like, okay, yeah, I'm looking at you. That's kind of strange. Oh, damn, can I live? I mean, wow, man. Can I live? I mean, damn, without judgment, dude. See, Gabrielle Union, her and her dude, the way they do that type of shit, they parade that little boy around. Hey, look at him. He's a girl now. Look at him. Look at him. All right, well, damn, why y'all got him parading around? Okay, damn, can he live? I mean, golly, he's a child. Let him. So they try to gaslight everybody and then complain when somebody mentions it. Now, y'all going with that bullshit. See, what this is, basically, that's them. That's part of that low-key trying to say that black folks are homophobic, because what they're really trying to say is that black folks were critical of Jaden walking around in a damn dress. See, remember when Jaden was walking around in dresses, and black folks was like, well, damn, why they got Jaden in a dress? See, that's what that's really trying to tie into. See, those homophobic black folks were critical of us because Jaden had on a dress and they called us weird. That's what that is. And it's not just the dress. Those kids do some strange shit because their parents do strange shit. Yeah, y'all do weird shit. Yeah, you do weird stuff. And then he's talking about, Tyler, the creator, his boyfriend, and yeah, they do weird stuff. Willow cutting all her hair off, and she's crying, talking about she wrote a letter to Tupac. She's crying. Oh, I wrote a letter to Tupac. Oh, my God. What's going on? Yeah, it's some strange stuff going on over there. Those kids' mama having entanglements with Jaden's homeboy. Yeah, that's kind of weird. Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it ain't just the black community is tripping. No, that's weird. When your homeboy come over and your mom starts getting into entanglements with him. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That's weird as hell. That's very weird. Oh, black folks just don't be understanding. See, they always want black folks to co-sign the weird bullshit. That's the thing. They love to get black folks to co-sign goofball weirdo nonsense. No, we good. Y'all can be weird over there. We ain't tripping, but that's some weird shit. Keep it on over there. Keep it on over there. Yeah. Yeah, your son is in a dress, your mom fucking your homeboy, your dad sitting up here looking distraught, the daughter's out here cutting her hair off, laying in the bed with an old white man. Yeah, that's called weird. Yeah, very fucking weird. Yeah, very weird. The black community just don't be understanding. No, don't put that on no black community. Weird is weird. And let's be real. White people been saying this about y'all. White people say this. Hell, remember when that movie After Earth or whatever, how critical they were? It was getting into some racial shit. But the white community was very critical. Y'all not calling the white community out. They were shitting on y'all. They were shitting on Will and Jaden, talking about nepotism. Remember when that movie After Earth came out and they were like, oh man, Jaden can't act for shit. Oh, this ain't nothing but nepotism. Oh, why did Will do a movie and put his son in it? This is nepotism, nepotism. They were talking shit about y'all. Y'all didn't say nothing about the white people. All them white critics who were shitting on you, y'all didn't say nothing about that. No, don't put the weird stuff on black people. Don't say that we just don't understand. Nah, weird is weird. Weird is weird. You understand? So, ladies and gentlemen, those are the top 5 reasons why we shouldn't rock with Biden or Kamala. The crime bill, Kamala's policies, the immigration policies, the benign neglect policy, and the LGBT prioritizing policy that ignores us. Those are the major things. So they're not going to shame us into supporting them. After all we've done, they owe. You owe. We're not afraid of Trump. If we're going to talk about indirect things that help, because that's what the Democrats love doing, they love talking about what's going on. Oh, this COVID going around attacking black people? Shit, y'all need health care, man. Dude, we need money. Then we can get the right health care. The problem, we don't get the proper health care because we don't have the right money. Black folks get COVID, as they say, disproportionately because black people don't have the money to get the proper health care. See, we got to get all this straight. It's tangibles time. It's tangible time. Because understand, man, the healthcare industry, truth be told, they made their bones off the backs of black people. The healthcare industry, as we know it, got started with the slave trade, just like the insurance business. See, they had to insure black people who were enslaved, and also they had to have health plans for the enslaved black people. They had to have health services. They had to have doctors come around to make sure everybody was good in order to insure them. So this is where the insurance company and the healthcare industry was born right around the same time. You understand? All of this shit comes off our backs, guys. All of it comes off our backs. This is why we need to get this money thing together. Tangibles, tangibles, tangibles. We got to get this tangible thing in order, ladies and gentlemen. And since nobody's talking about tangibles, black folks should stay their asses home and not vote for anybody, and don't let nobody shame you. The only people who want us to vote are black folks who are LGBT, black folks who are immigrants, or black folks who work somehow for the DNC, as you noticed. Because we're better off coming up with our own solutions. If a system is illegitimate and it's not working, and it goes beyond just not working, where it's working against you, you drop out of that system. You do not rely on that system. You come up with an alternative system. This system is too corrupt for us to be participating in it. We will not participate in a system that does not have a Marshall Plan for us, man. We need an emergency plan. We need to be top priority. Family, if we are not top priority, we are enabling a corrupt system against us, period. We ain't playing this game. We got to be serious about what we need. This is an emergency state we're in right now. I'm not sitting up here voting for no damn immigration. I'm not voting for same-sex marriages right now between 2 white men, and those 2 white men will sit up there on a jury and let a race soldier go. No. Tangibles for foundational black Americans or nothing. It's that simple. What if Trump wins? What if he wins? Trump already won. He's in office now. We're fine. We're good. Trump has been in office. My health care is fine. Trump is in office. The health care game is okay. We're fine. Trump is in office. He's in office now. We're fine now. So don't let nobody scare you. Because like I said, Trump hasn't put together any policies that specifically harms black people. His personal views, that's another thing. But as far as policies, since he's been in office, Trump hasn't put together anything that has harmed us. Kamala has. Biden has. So we're going to go for lesser of evils. Trump is less evil than that as far as policies. So I'm not afraid of that. We better be afraid if Biden and Kamala get in, because they're going to prioritize everybody and all of these other anti-black groups on top of us, and they're all going to be empowered to attack us. That's going to be the damn problem. So no tangibles, no vote, and that's all it is. Anyway, y'all, that's been today's episode of Tariq Radio. Y'all go to officialfba.com. If you look below in the comment section, you will see the link. Go watch the new video, 4 hours long, of the Foundational Black American Conference 2020. Watch that right now and get your flags, your FBA flags, the mini flags, from that site, ladies and gentlemen. And also go to HiddenColorsFilm.com to get Hidden Colors 1 through 5 and 1804. All right, I'm out. I'll holler at you guys Sunday. Y'all have a great evening.